Well, hey everybody, John Riplin here, and this is a retro review where I'm going to talk about one of my favorite wrestling rivalries ever. CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy, 2009, and my god, absolutely one of my favorite feuds ever. I still just get chills thinking about just how great this was, and if you've followed this channel for a while, if you watch my videos for a while, if you follow me on Twitter for a while, you're going to know why this is one of my favorite wrestling feuds ever, and that's because there were so many elements of truth to it, and realism and everything, and both were just polar opposites. CM Punk being a straight edge guy, and Jeff Hardy being, the live for the moment guy that had his issues in the past, and these issues would follow him after he left WWE, shortly after SummerSlam 2009, for about a year and a half almost. He has since gotten those cleared up, and that is great. He's doing well as a father, he's doing well as a wrestler, as a man, and that's great. But at this time, there was a whole lot of doubt. Could Jeff Hardy be the main guy? Could he carry the torch? Could he do all this? So how this is going to work is I'm going to talk about what the guys did, for the few months leading up to their feud, and then talk about, the fallout of what happened with, each guy once this feud ended. I would have loved to have seen this feud actually go on, like if Jeff had come back, say in like January 2010 and not gone to Impact, even though I understand why he went there. It would have been interesting to see if they could have picked this back up and gone to Mania. I actually think they could have done a really damn good feud leading into Mania, maybe with Jeff Hardy winning back the title. Who knows? But anyway, so if we go back to like the beginning of 2009, Jeff Hardy had won the championship the previous month at Armageddon 2008. He was champion heading in to face Edge, and then the whole thing happened where Matt Hardy turned on Jeff Hardy, cracked him over the head with a chair. That ended Jeff Hardy's lone WWE title reign at just over a month. It was close to 6 weeks, something like that. And then Jeff and Matt had their feud and everything, had the Extreme Rules match at Mania 25, which was a pretty good match, admittedly. A couple of their matches after that I didn't care for. That was a good feud, but the Hardys were always better when they were together than they were feuding, except in Impact. I thought actually their stuff in Impact where they were feuding was fine. After a bit, the WWE stuff, I don't know, I didn't like some of the stuff they did, like about bringing up Jeff Hardy's house burning down, his dog dying. I was like, I'm sure both were fine with it, but the whole point is I wasn't really comfortable with that. And then, Jeff Hardy ends his feud with Matt. I believe it was an I Quit match at, not Extreme Rules, but I want to say Backlash. I think Backlash 2009. And then, Jeff went and feuded with Edge. He feuded with him at Judgment Day 2009, which wasn't actually that bad of a pay-per-view. It was actually a pretty damn good pay-per-view, all things considered. And then he faced Edge again at Extreme Rules 2009. And then won the championship. And then before I go, any further with that, he won the championship. He's standing tall over Edge in a ladder match. Great stuff, great moment and everything. It was actually a pretty impactful ladder match. Because, yes, they had their crazy spots, but they told a good story through tremendous impact, using the weapons and all that, and making the spots matter. So, Jeff Hardy's champion. We go back to the beginning of 2009. CM Punk kind of was floundering a little bit. He was Intercontinental Champion. Not really much going on. He was Intercontinental Champion after beating William Regal, because they'd had that feud going a little bit. And then he lost it to JBL, heading in towards Mania 25. And that was the question, what's going to happen with CM Punk? Well, he got freed up to be part of the Money in the Bank ladder match, and for the second year in a row, I believe this was the match where he actually kicked Kane off of the ladder and, got his second Money in the Bank briefcase. And then after that, things kind of were a little bit weird. They were a little bit odd, where he was like jobbing. He was doing a whole bunch of odd stuff. Just like jobbing for no reason. I mean, the briefcase wasn't on the line. They weren't going to do, what they did in 2007 with Mr. Kennedy. But with Punk, it was a little weird. It was like, well, what in the world's going on here? And then he starts feuding with Umaga. And then, so he has this feud with Umaga. It caps off at Extreme Rules 2009 as a Samoan strap match, which unfortunately would be the last match that Umaga would have in WWE. And unfortunately, it would be pretty much the last high-profile match he would end up having. He would tour in the Indies. He would tour with Hulk Hogan's, Hulkamania tour that they had, where Flair was back to wrestling and everything, and Umaga would unfortunately pass away at the beginning of December 2009. I think it was December 4th, 2009. The whole point is, very sad, but that was Umaga's last match. Okay, Punk was, pretty beat up by that, but it was also kind of a bit of a squash. He did get some, there were some shots in with the strap, but Umaga got kind of squashed. Punk won pretty easily, and they were having this weird thing happen where Umaga was talking. And it's not like the man couldn't actually talk, but it was just weird. He's supposed to be the savage, and he suddenly starts talking. And in perfect English, by the way. Bit bizarre. But back to that ladder match. So, Jeff Hardy's holding the title aloft and everything. JR gets in the ring, and he's about to conduct an interview, and all of a sudden, CM Punk's music hits. Jeff's beat up, his legs are beat up, all this kind of stuff. I mean, he lived for the moment, but also got the shit beat out of him in a ladder match. And so he was, walking wounded. CM Punk comes down, he's going to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. JR gets out of the ring, smart by JR, and then we have a match. And there was this one go to sleep, and this is the perfect moment where the feud absolutely kicked off. CM Punk hits that go to sleep. Jeff Hardy kicks out. And Punk just has this look of I'm like, okay, we're about to see heel Punk here. And I mean, I'd seen a little bit of heel Punk in Ring of Honor because a buddy of mine at the time had let me actually borrow some of the DVDs he had. Well, and even some of the VHS stuff that he had. I know, prehistoric. But it was great to see him there in the, as a heel. So you see that, and then, Jeff Hardy, Jeff Hardy doesn't, retain the title, basically. In the end, CM Punk manages to hit another go sleep, 1, 2, 3, and that's it. And CM Punk, wins, and he's holding the title aloft. And then the thing I liked is, even though Punk was clearly a heel, they did let the fans decide. And Punk was just firing off these great promos and everything. And at first, you weren't sure. It's like, okay, he just cashed in Money in the Bank. He cashed in on that, but he cashed in on Edge last year, and we loved it. But then he cashed in on beloved Jeff Hardy, and it's like, oh, God, what is this? Why is Punk doing this? That's the whole point of the Money in the Bank briefcase, though. And you had Edge. Mr. Candy, even though he's getting over, is still a heel. So you had Edge, and then you had, RVD. He was a babyface that had that and announced his intentions well ahead of time. And then you had, the whole point is Punk, by this point, he was a babyface last year. And by the time he was starting to get booed quite a bit, he got booed a bit at Mania 25 when he won the briefcase because people were getting a little bit tired of him. So he saw the potential in switching and becoming a heel. So he becomes a heel. He starts shouting, kind of doing, straight edge society stuff before the straight edge society came along. Excuse me. And that was great because he was firing off just some great quotes or whatever. Like, you fans gravitate towards Jeff Hardy because it's the easy way out. It's like, it's easier for you to be weak like Jeff because you sure as hell can't be strong like me. And it admittedly, I know I sound harsh, me knowing that I'm anti-drug and stuff like that and anti-alcohol. I had drank in the past. But it spoke to me. I mean, and I haven't drank any kind of alcohol or anything in over 10 years. Because I was a bit of an asshole when drinking. Shocking, I know that I could be an asshole. But the whole point is I had chose to adopt the drug-free, alcohol-free lifestyle. Now, what was great though about Punk, he was firing off this kind of stuff, and he, so many other quotes that I just can't remember because they all kind of blend together. But just there's other stuff like, Jeff, I'm gonna, just say no, and he's saying this kind of stuff, and he's just rattling off all this drug stuff, this drug-related stuff. And it was really cutting to the bone with Jeff. Now, again, I'm very sure that Jeff was okay with it because Jeff had been very transparent about his demons and the stuff he had been going through. The fact that it had cost him, 30 days in 2007. It had cost him the chance to win Money in the Bank in, the previous year at Mania 24. He had finally become champion, but it had gotten to the point where even though the fans were crazy for him, the company could not rely on him to be champion very long. They were just having these great moments, these great segments and everything, and just, Punk becoming more and more of a straight edge dick and just getting in Jeff Hardy's face, getting in the face of the fans, like, metaphorically, but still, like, just with his words. And then they had the match at the Bash, which was, the Great American Bash, but they call it just the Bash here. And Jeff won by disqualification, so that would continue the feud and everything. And Punk's just like, Jeff couldn't win the big one. He couldn't do this kind of stuff. And throwing out all this just great verbiage. And then Night of Champions, Jeff manages to get the victory. So suddenly CM Punk's title reign is over. And this is back when the automatic rematch clause, was around. I know that may shock some people since the automatic rematch clause is clearly not being allowed to exist at all anymore. Except it is. But, modern wrestling aside, you then look at, Jeff winning. Night of Champions, having this big celebration and everything. He did it. He was exercising his demons. He had beaten CM Punk, proved him wrong, proved that Jeff Hardy could win the big one. Once again, didn't need the substances, didn't need the alcohol. He was a changed man. All this, and then they had more great promos back and forth, this kind of stuff, and culminated at SummerSlam 2009 in a great TLC match. Jeff doing this absolutely massive swanton off this freaking ladder just through the announcer's table. And it was one of the only times I remember enjoying Todd Grisham on commentary, who I never hated. I just never thought was all that good. But that was great stuff. It was just really, really good, very impactful. But Jeff was clearly a beaten man. Rumors had come out that Jeff Hardy was not going to be renewing his contract. His contract is going to be up very soon. I think if I recall correctly, he actually signed a short extension to continue this feud with Punk. In fact, I think that might have been the reason why he won the title. Was so, because his contract might have been up at some point around that, and he signed a short extension, which is fine. I totally get it. And he did, and they did great business. The SummerSlam 2009, pretty underappreciated, very underappreciated main event. Punk versus Jeff Hardy was very, very enjoyable. And then, Punk eventually beats him, gets up on the ladder, beats him, this kind of stuff, and gets the title, so he's back to being world champion. And then Stan over Jeff Hardy has proved that the straight edge lifestyle is the way to be. And Jeff Hardy just couldn't hold on to it once he got it. Just couldn't hold on to the big one. And then lights go out, and then all of a sudden Jeff Hardy's gone. Undertaker's underneath him, and Undertaker chokeslams CM Punk, and there we go with another feud. Now, they did have another match, a rematch, where Jeff Hardy would quit WWE. His career was done if he lost to CM Punk in a cage match on the following SmackDown, which was a good match. Very good match, very enjoyable. Punk did eventually win. Jeff Hardy, this is not good. This is not goodbye. This is just, I will be back at some point. And I think the idea with this is that Jeff Hardy might have taken a few months off and then come back around January 2010. That's my guess. I don't know, but that's just my guess, just with the way the promo was. So from there, they pretty much just under fucking cut Punk. Now I'm gonna go Jeff Hardy first. Jeff Hardy Jeff Hardy ends up getting busted, as House with a whole bunch of drugs and everything and all this kind of stuff. And that was mere days after he had left WWE, or about a week or two, I think. Actually, it might have been a couple weeks. But he got busted with that. That would have been his third strike. Now, my guess is that Jeff Hardy knew something might happen and was like, okay, I can't have that happen or I'll get terminated. Even though they didn't do it with Randy Orton in 2013 because, he suddenly became champion after a strike got taken away. Right around the time he won Money in the Bank, that third strike just suddenly didn't happen. But anyway, Jeff Hardy gets busted and that kind of stuff. Okay, court case, all that, whatever. I don't remember if he had to serve jail and if he had to serve in jail, and if he did, it wasn't much time. He then shows up in Impact a number of months later, January 4th, 2010, the night that Bret Hart returned. Do you think WWE was worried about Impact moving to Monday nights? They shouldn't have been, because Impact kind of shot themselves in the foot. But hey, Impact was trying to deliver some big shows on Mondays. But anyway, the whole point is, then from there, so Jeff Hardy, he does the stuff in Impact, goes on from there, the victory road, he cleared up his life, that's what matters. In the mere months after SummerSlam 2009, they had CM Punk feud with The Undertaker. Okay, they did the screw job finish thing at Breaking Point 2009, where it's supposed to be submission based, and then they had Teddy Long do this thing where it's like he called for the bell, or referee called for the bells. It was a big screw job finish because it was in Montreal, because Montreal screw job. Do you get it? Yeah, they won't let it go ever. They will never let it go. I think I will let go of my hatred for Lex Luger before. No, I think they'll let go of the Montreal. It'll be neck and neck. But Screwy finish where Taker actually didn't tap out, so CM Punk retains. But then you have the whole rumors of Punk was being asked, like, why can't you dress better now that you're champion or whatever? And Punk retorts, well, what about Cena? Because he's wearing jorts. Jorts never looked cool and still don't. Not to say that wearing stuff is bad, because I wear, wrestling t-shirts, and like all the stuff I got back there. I wear wrestling t-shirts and shorts. I'm certainly not the fashion plate of wrestling. I am not Jimmy Garvin, because I did not take a bunch of steroids and try to act like a badass as a freebird in 1989. Yes, Jimmy Garvin tried doing that. That didn't work so well. Don't take on Dr. Death Steve Williams. don't piss him off. But the whole point is you get Punk, he's feuding with The Undertaker. Then after that rumor comes out about the whole thing of kind of, pissing off the locker room. Geez, Vince hears that, oh, maybe Punk thinks he's better than Taker, or Punk thinks that he's better than Cena. Jesus, probably thinks he's better than Taker. Who knows? But suddenly, first Hell in a Cell exclusive pay-per-view, or in name, Punk loses to Taker within fucking like 10 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. It was fucking rotten. It was fucking brutal. They undercut, CM Punk in 2009 and again in 2011. It was just ridiculous. I just don't understand why they did it. I mean, it's like, oh, we got to cut this guy down to size or whatever. And it was stupid. And then Punk was one of the final 3 in the Survivor Series match and lost. I believe Kofi pinned Punk and then pinned Orton. And then from there, Punk was just like sent down the card. He did start doing the Straight Edge Savior stuff at the Royal Rumble. That was pretty cool. And then the Straight Edge Society would develop, and he would creepily sing to Rey Mysterio's daughter. I don't remember. Aaliyah? I think Aaliyah was her name. But anyway, it was just that creepy rendition of Happy Birthday, and I'm getting freaking skin-crawlingly creepy, but it was great stuff. But from there, after that great feud that they had that culminated at the SmackDown after SummerSlam 2009, it's a shame that thing couldn't go on, because there was a lot of really good stuff that they did. The promos, just the verbiage, just everything that they did, the video packages, the fact that, Punk was trying to say, hey, I'm the guiding light. You shouldn't pay attention to Jeff. You should pay attention to me because of morals, because Jeff screwed up all his chances. I don't screw up mine because I'm straight edge. He's not, and whatever, but people gravitated towards Jeff. I gravitated towards Punk mainly because I'm an asshole, but also because I like living the drug and alcohol-free lifestyle, and I always had a bit of an issue with guys like Jeff and Scott Hall that screwed up more chances, all the chances they kept having. Now, that's another video for another day, but it's still one of my favorite rivalries. It's just great. It's a shame it couldn't go on longer, but across multiple pay-per-views in June, July, and August, I mean, they did really, really well. So that's what I have to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. I know it went on a bit long, but I hope you guys enjoyed me talking about before the feud, during the feud, and after the feud, and just realizing, some feuds like really are quite good. And let me know if you guys like this feud. Let me know some other feuds in 2009 that you might have enjoyed. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I will see you soon.